Hi, my name's Andrew Whitakker from Fingo, and today I'll be presenting the Heg. By the time you see this video, I will be in the Solomon Islands, probably sitting on that very beach there, enjoying some sunshine. The traditional peg's been around for a long time without any real significant innovation. Scott Bucock is the inventor, and he'll be able to tell you a little bit more about how he arrived at the idea. But essentially it's a conventional sort of clothes peg with the addition of a little hook on the side, so that adds a whole new feature to it. So to start the project, Scott came down to the studio and we discussed how we'd possibly go about developing the project. And we started off with a brief. And in the brief we really had 4 key points. And that was that the product had to be easy to use, it had to have a little tiny hook on the side, or in the case of the final design it had 2 hooks. It had to be manufacturable, so it was cost effective, and it was going to be a premium peg. It's not going to be competing with the low margin, high volume pegs. It was really supposed to be really high quality. We started by reviewing all the different pegs on the market, talking to people about how they use them, and then we set about developing a bit of a specification, creating a bunch of different concepts in sketch form, and then we went to a series of different CAD models. We were then able to sit back and select one concept, and we had some prototypes machined. From there we selected one design direction, and we had it a little prototype tool manufactured. With the prototype tool we were able to test things like the hinge, the material. We worked pretty closely with material suppliers to get the right material, and we got the tool maker and the moulder involved very early in the piece too. We experimented with lots of different spring combinations. We used the injection moulded part to do some cyclic testing. In fact, we set up a little cam to cycle the hinge 30,000 times, and that gave us the confidence that the product, I guess the architecture of the product was stiff enough and the hinge was going to survive. That's the equivalent of about 30 years of use, 10 times a day. And the form or the geometry of the part was really important. It's not just sort of a random peanut shape. It was fairly considered. One of the important things was to get the hinge well above the centre of gravity, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment. We've got a large area at the back here for your thumb, for compressing the peg. There's a little detail here which helps you sort of locate the back of the peg and stops your fingers from sliding off. We've got a pretty generous sort of opening at the mouth here, so it easily slides onto clothes. Really large radiuses, so you can attack the line from pretty much any angle you like. We wanted to keep the hook well inboard of the rest of the profile so that it doesn't tangle or hook up when you lift it out of the basket. We've gone for a fairly typical wall section of about 2.5 millimetres. This is to assist with a good cycle time, although it does taper off where we don't need the material. The design of the spring was pretty important. It was all about simple single axis assembly, so you just snap the spring into place like that. This will really be an important feature when we go to automate assembly later on, when the production numbers are really high and can justify full automation. At the moment they're manually assembled, but it's still quite cost effective to go down this path. And we selected the colour orange. It really stands out. It's supposed to evoke optimism, happiness and warmth. From an environmental point of view, I guess anything that promotes air drying has got to be a good thing. It's made out of straight polypropylene, and it has the material identification logo engraved into the side here. The The material is also identified on the packaging here. The spring can be removed for recycling. Unlike a lot of the other standard pegs that you get, we've got a high level of UV additives, so you should get many years of life out of this peg. So the geometry of the peg allows it to hang on the line like that, and the idea is that a lot of women's garments have little tags sewn into them, and you simply clip it onto the line. If you really want to, you can separate the garment and it'll lock onto the line, and that can help with drying. And also you can move the garment without having to unpeg it. So with the use of photorealistic rendering, Scott was able to do some initial gauging of the market to see what people would think of the idea on the design. The prototype tool enabled us to mould a number of parts that we were able to carry around in our pocket and show different people and use and experiment with. And after a little bit of tweaking, Scott was able to get some significant retail orders based just on the prototype tooling itself. As we speak, the tooling has been completed and production is actually underway. We expect to see the first samples or the first production samples arrive in Australia in about 4 or 5 weeks from now. We've been working closely with Scott and the graphic designer, assisting with the packaging, and the website is now up and running, so you can actually go to the website and pre-order parts. In closing, I think we've got a very simple product, but a really well resolved little product. It's been fantastic working with Scott. It's great to have a really enthusiastic customer. The margins for this are great for the inventor or for Scott. There's great margins for the moulder, and there's great margins for the retailer, so it's a win-win situation for everyone. So at the end of the day, I think we'll have a little product that'll have a quick return on investment, and we're really hoping it's going to be a successful South Australian innovation. Looking forward to seeing you at the Design Awards in a few weeks' time. Bye.